Okay, girls and boys, welcome to today's writing video. We're on lesson number 28 and just rolling right along. So, there have been a lot of writing videos. There's been a lot of talk about our writing. What is happening? Well, number one, we're finishing our experiment. Remember, I did the ramp in the car. You're doing your experiment now, and you're writing about it in your composition book first, and then on nice paper. The composition book is where you practice. It's where you get it to look the way you want it to look. That's where we're going to check your spelling and things like that. So don't worry about the nice paper yet. Okay? Then we thought of a topic that we know a lot about and subtopics. We wrote that in our memo book. So hopefully you've all done that. I know you've all told me about your topic. Okay? And then in the most recent video, we created a table of contents. Now, this thing here, of course, I'd like you to have it in your composition notebook, but if you feel really good about your table of contents, you can go ahead and start to make it on nice paper. And if you need it, just let me know. Now, I want to take another look at the table of contents because it's so important. So I've got my title here to my book at the top, Kites. And I've got the words table of contents. And look at this here. Here are my subtopics. Where to fly kites, good weather for kite flying, and what are kites? Well, this looks pretty good, but you've got to think to yourself, is this really a good way to teach somebody about kites? Imagine they don't know anything. Is it a good idea to start telling them where to fly kites? Maybe they want to know what kites are first. So we don't really like this order. You want to be sure that your table of contents is set up so that someone who doesn't know anything about what you're doing can learn about it step by step. You have a lot of information. You're the expert, and you're not just the writer, you're the organizer of the ideas. And the table of contents is where you can start that organization. So how about we do this? Number one, what are kites? Then number two, good weather for flying. Number three, where to fly kites. Okay, we can be flexible with the other ones, but the first one, it's got to have an introduction. Tell us why you're writing the book. Okay, tell us what the topic is about, basically, and then talk about the details later. So, here's what you're going to do. Start writing about your topic and get your ideas on the notebook page. You are writing a draft. So when your table of contents is finished, you're going to go to your composition book. And in that composition book, you're going to start writing what you know. Okay, so it's going there, not to the pretty paper first. So if the first thing in your table of contents is an introduction to soccer, talk a little bit about soccer. Don't explain all the details yet. Tell me what it is. It's a sport. There are 11 players on the field, something like that. Don't worry about spelling right now. If there are words that you're not sure about, just do your best. Use your foundations rules that you've learned. If you really get stuck, those of you who can ask someone, or if you have a dictionary, you can use those. You can ask me. You can write it down in your memo book and just say, Mr. P, I don't know the best way to spell it. This is a draft. A draft means it's just practice spelling. It's practice writing. Okay? That's why we're doing it in our composition book first and not directly to the pretty paper. And use your table of contents as a guide. Let me show you what I mean. So my table of contents, the first thing I had there was, what are kites? And this is a good idea because it's going to help somebody understand. We just have to imagine they don't know anything about kites. And maybe I'll write about it for 2 pages. I don't know. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to say I'm only going to do 1 page. I'm going to use as much space as I need. So what are kites? And I might say something like this. A kite is a frame that is covered in cloth or paper or plastic, and it usually looks like a bird, and it's attached to a string, and we fly it up in the air. Something like that. We're going to tell somebody what it is that we're talking about. Then the second thing in my table of contents was good weather for flying. Okay, and that might take me a page. I might say a kite can only be flown on a windy day. And it should be a day where there's no rain or snow or anything like that. Okay, so I would talk about that. And then the third thing that I had, the third item that I had in my table of contents was where to fly kites. And I could talk about good places like a park or a beach. And don't fly them on the street if there are telephone poles and wires all around, telephone cables, power lines. So this is just one example. Maybe I have 5 items in my table of contents. Maybe I have 10. There's no limit, but we have to have at least 3. Now, boys and girls, remember you're writing a draft. When we finish getting all of our information down in our composition notebook, that's when we'll talk about going to the pretty paper. Right now, we're going nicely and slowly. Really, you should only do 1 item from the table of contents each day. Don't try to finish your book in a day. Don't try to finish it in 2 days. It's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to give you that time. Okay? But make your draft ideas long and strong. Don't put something on a page, like if you're doing soccer and you want to talk about penalties, don't write just 1 sentence. Remember, we're trying to teach somebody and we're experts. Okay? So put as much information as you can down on the page and we'll adjust it as we go along. Okay? So once your table of contents is ready, open up that composition book and introduce your topic. Okay? And we'll add more hints as we go along. That's it for now, boys and girls. I know this is a big challenge, but remember, you're writing a book, and I really want to read it. So take your time, but work hard. Try to give yourself like 30 minutes a day to work on it. In the classroom, that's what we would do. Okay? All right, boys and girls, good luck. I can't wait to read what you have. The end.